This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below. Hey, what's up, and welcome to QnA, the show where I take your questions and answer them here in video format. A ton of questions to get into, so let's just jump into it. Stingray Slapper, badged up member, says, get ready to be annoyed, Q, but people are going to act like the season is over and it's week 6. I love the Browns and Browns fans most of the time, but GD, y'all need to just take a breather. I swear the same people complaining about Watson not playing are the same people who are complaining that Baker Mayfield was playing. That's one of the contradictions in this whole controversies that I don't understand. In 2021, a lot of us were critical of people who said, of Baker Mayfield specifically, for playing even though he is so injured to the point to where it's really affecting his play. A lot of us said the team should force Baker Mayfield not to play, or that Baker Mayfield should have told himself that he couldn't play. Now we're in this same situation in 2023. There's a shoulder injury. It's affecting how that quarterback can throw the ball, and that quarterback is trying to heal before they get out there so they could be at 100% for the rest of the season. And it seems as if nobody paid attention in 2021. And I don't know if this is the fans' fault, but I do know this is just when people said in 2021 that scenario was a no-win scenario. This is what they meant. If Baker had played, it was a no-win scenario because he didn't play well. If Baker didn't play, it was a no-win scenario because people would be doing exactly what they're doing right now. The fact is that there's just no way to win this situation if you're Deshaun Watson. There's no way to win this situation if you're Kevin Stefanski. There's no way to win this situation if you're Andrew Berry. There's no winning in this situation. The only winning in this situation can come from the future, which is Deshaun gets better, plays well, team makes the playoffs, everybody shuts up about this stupid shoulder game, right? That's the only option. And when that's the only option to quote unquote win this whole controversy, then you have to focus on what's it going to be that's going to make sure that happens the most, right? What puts that at the highest probability? And him playing right now doesn't put that at the highest probability. Him doing the rehab for that shoulder, getting better, and being able to throw without any discomfort, any restrictions is what's going to make that better. Now, again, once he gets back out there, I still think some changes need to be made. He definitely needs to slide more. He definitely needs to be more protective of his body, more so than he's been so far in his career. And I hope that he doesn't take all the noise or listen to all the noise about this and decide to double down on being reckless with his body, which is what got him here in the first place. I really do hope that that's not the case. I hope he doesn't feel like he has anything to prove to people who don't think he's tough anymore because he didn't play through this injury. Just play good football, win games, and then everybody will be quote tweeting all the people who are making fun of this in like 10 weeks and doing another stupid victory lap. So that's really the only way to win this situation. There's no winning in that, right? And when the player has to sit out, but they're medically cleared, there's no winning in that. But again, we recognized this in 2021 with Baker Mayfield. Yeah, he was medically cleared to play. And I remember this argument verbatim with a lot of y'all in this comment section because I was being critical of his ability to throw the football. And I said, hey, if he's out there, he's going to be criticized. If he does not want to be criticized, if he does not think he can play well enough to where the criticism isn't warranted on him, then he needs to make the decision not to play. You go back into 2021 and you can see people very mad at me saying those exact words. We're in 2023 and I'm sticking to those words. Deshaun feels like he cannot play up to a standard that will help the team win right now, so he's not playing. I respect that decision, right? That's a decision I was always willing to respect. Baker chose to play, even though the play was supposedly affecting, this injury was affecting his ability to play, but not enough to him not to play. And that's where we are. And now I see people praising Baker Mayfield for this when absolutely was not the case in 2021, right? People are just kind of turning around backwards to do a victory lap on it. It's the goofiest situation in the world. And I think a lot of people are bored because there's no football games because the Browns been on a bye week and we just need games to start again because goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. Like the vitriol in this discourse, like I have seen people give players death threats in my comment section and I usually don't see that kind of a thing. And it's really just gross how people have acted over the last couple of weeks, if I'm being honest with you. And I've seen a lot in these 5 years, but this is different. I used to think how they treated Odell was crazy. This is different. Julian Anthony says, why did the Browns go with PJ over DTR? I think because PJ is a vet and they felt like PJ would be more ready to play right now, given a complicated week of prep. I remember saying this when we were having the original Josh Dobbs DTR discourse. And I remember saying this verbatim. You can go back and watch some of those videos. Josh Dobbs is the quarterback that I would want to have active because in a game day situation where like somebody could start out of nowhere or have to play out of nowhere, Josh Dobbs is a vet. He's more prepared to do that. I would go with him. But DTR is the guy I would start if I had a whole week of prep and I knew like, okay, the starter's out on Tuesday. We're going to have to start somebody. I would go with DTR. And I think that's the situation. Since we dragged this all the way out to Thursday, they're going to go with PJ Walker. And I think that they see DTR as a long-term asset, as somebody who has a future, whether it be with this team or not with this team, at the quarterback position. And they want to make sure they do not do anything to negatively hinder his development. I think this is a place where the long-term development of a player takes precedence over the depth chart. And I think this is one of those cases where they're doing that with DTR. The next question comes from Master Desk, who says, now that Watson has been ruled out, why don't we just rest our starters and put in our second string all game? No chance in hell we win that game anyways. I am being optimistic, but the 49ers have scored 30 or more points in every game they played so far. Hey, remember when like Gardner Minshew had to start a couple of weeks ago for the Colts and the Colts won that game versus the Baltimore Ravens and nobody thought that was going to happen on the road? Right? Remember that? This is the NFL. This is not college football. Every week you go out there, you have a chance to win, even if your team sucks. And this team doesn't suck. They have one of the best defenses in football. And when you have a great defense, you always have a chance to win a football game. So, no, they shouldn't punt this game. Because if you're telling me right now that you can't go through, you don't expect your team to be competitive because a couple of guys are missing on the offensive side, that it's impossible to expect them to be competitive because of that, then you don't have a playoff quality football team. You might as well punt the season, right? You might as well trade everybody if that's the mindset, that we're so weak that we can't compete and that it's worth it to not play anybody because we're so scared of competing with the 49ers. No, it's not a mindset that's going to fly in the locker room. They should have everybody active who's able to be active. Everybody who can play should play. And that should be how things go this week. Trey Ball says, Q, I've watched you since the beginning. I know you've been pretty high on PJ even before he got in the league. So with you knowing his style of play, how do you expect this offense to run? I expect this offense, it's going to be interesting. It depends what's there early. I expect PJ to take some shots downfield. PJ is a baller. PJ is somebody who likes to sling it. And what I mean by that is PJ likes to throw downfield. PJ likes to take shots. And sometimes that hurts him. Sometimes it helps him. But he's going to be a bit of a gambler. He's like a more aggressive Tyrod Taylor. Smaller guy, but more aggressive Tyrod Taylor. Sometimes he makes these incredible plays, and you saw it in his XFL run where some of his limitations didn't limit him, and he was incredible because he has this playmaker mindset. But you can see also where it hurts him because in the NFL, he's not a supreme athlete, right? So that's where PJ is. He's somebody who's going to take some shots downfield. He's going to be aggressive, and he's going to try to push that ball downfield. Whether he's successful with that, we'll see. But I expect him to be aggressive in this game. I think that's why wide receivers love him so much. Darnell Johnson says, can the Browns win in the trenches running game? And can the defense play sound against Purdy to win this game? I heard Schwartz defense owns Shanahan's offenses. What do you think? Yeah, I think there's a good chance that this defense plays well. You look at the teams that have given the 49ers issues in the last few years. It's teams with really good defensive lines. The Browns fit that bill. And then you look at what Jim has done against Kyle Shanahan, and that's even more encouraging, given that this is probably the best roster that Jim has had so far in his tenure. Ralph Miller says, do you think we should throw more screen passes and streak to the tight ends to help the offense move the ball downfield? Absolutely not. Not this week. This is not the week to mess around with their linebackers. Look, I don't think Roquan Smith is the best linebacker in football. That's because Fred Warner exists. Fred Warner and the other linebackers, Greenlaw too, they have excellent linebackers who can cover, who can run stuff, who can sniff out screens. This ain't the week to try to get that bullshit. They're going to be on it. If your plan is to throw to David Njoku a ton, if your plan is to throw a bunch of screens in the flat, you're going to get 12 yards of total offense. This is not the defense to do that against. If you want to play against the 49ers, you're going to have to stretch this ball downfield. And I think that has a lot to do with why PJ Walker is starting this week, because they know that. And DTR is not ready to do that. You're going to need to stretch this ball downfield. You're going to need to be aggressive. You're going to need to take some shots, because if you let this game get determined by their linebacker and their defensive line, they're going to murder you. You got to be able to run the ball a little bit. You got to be able to do some RPO stuff. You got to be able to have some run threat at quarterback, and you got to be able to push that thing downfield. The Cardinals actually kind of pushed the 49ers a little bit the last time they played them. So that's also something to look at with Josh Dobbs and how they did that. So, yeah, screen passes, no go. Seam shots, no go. No. They're going to pick that off. They're going to be all over that. I hope that's not the game plan. There's not going to be easy stuff available here. They're going to have to push this thing downfield if they want a shot. And they're going to have to try to take advantage of their slot corners and more difficult things like that. There's not going to be an easy way to beat the 49ers defense. There's no easy throws against this defense. You know what I mean? That's 2 weeks in a row. The Baltimore Ravens and the San Francisco 49ers, they don't give you easy throws. Not a lot of defenses in the NFL do. Reese's says, when trick plays become part of the regular playbook, something is wrong or more with just the play calling. PJ is more than capable of managing game. Keep him in his comfort zone. Thing with PJ going to take shots. He's not a game manager. He's a shot taker. He's more like Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's going to take some shots. Terrell Glenn says, what's good, Q? How well does Purdy do when pressured? I know he gets the ball out quick, so it'll be hard to pressure that line. But if the defense gets at him a few times per series, do you think it can get him out of his regular game? I don't question if Purdy's good under pressure. I think Purdy's fine under pressure. I wonder how good is this San Francisco offensive line for real? They haven't had that many super serious tests. When they have played an AFC North team with a really good defensive line, TJ Watt went off for 3 sacks on them. That's the question I want to ask. Is this San Francisco 49ers offensive line actually as good as people think it is? Because that's where you can break the game. Because pressure is one thing. If we can get hits on Purdy, if we can force him to fumble in the pocket or something like that, that's the stuff that's going to affect this game. Again, look at what Philadelphia was able to do to him. Look at what some of the stronger defensive lines have done to these San Francisco teams in the past. And it's not the most encouraging look for that offensive line. So that's the question, right? Purdy, how well does he do in pressure? I think a lot of people are still questioning Purdy. I think Purdy's really good. I don't think that he's a fraud or anything like that. That if you pressure him, he's going to turn into a bum. But I do want to look at this offensive line, because we know Trent Williams is really good, but he's doing a lot of the lifting for that reputation of that offensive line. And that's where I think you can find some holes in this San Francisco offense is that offensive line. All right, Trey Ball says here, if you had to say what the 49ers' biggest weakness is that could be exploited, how do you prefer the offensive and defensive game plan goes? Offensively, you're going to have to try to get guys in the slot. You're going to have to try to take advantage of their corners. You're going to have to push the ball downfield. And you're going to need to be able to get a reliable 4 or 5 yards on the run. You're going to have to stay ahead of the sticks. You're going to have to play a clean game, no turnovers. It's going to be tough for this offense, but that's going to be what you're going to ask from the offense. And I think you can get 14 to 21 points if you play that style of football. Defensively, it's going to be about making sure that you communicate really well, that you're not getting picked on these things in the back end, that this pre-snap, post-snap motion isn't throwing your defense off or getting you out of your run fits, and that you're saying sound with what you need to do. If you do that, I think you have the personnel up front and you have the personnel in the back end to really give this offense some hell. I really do. But that's what the game plan would be. Play a clean game on both sides of the ball. Defensively, we know that that's possible. Offensively, we haven't seen it all year, so we can't just assume. JPEG Tyler says, before the trade deadline, could you name one player that you could see us parting with and one player or position that you could see us going after? I would say the Browns are probably taking a look at guys who were projected to be late first to fourth round picks on the offensive line, especially at the tackle position. And they're looking for guys who they like, who aren't starting, that they feel like might be a fit, that aren't a fit with their current team. But I don't think they're looking for like Garrett Bowles, right? I think they're looking for up and comers like that. So that's my thoughts to you guys' questions. Thank you guys for asking them. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night.